putting together what we've learned, I just felt that we should do something very quickly to try to articulate the fact that it is really not that hard to get started with CorelDRAW. So with that said and done, I'm just going to go ahead and click on my pick tool and draw over all this and then delete it. And now I have a fresh workspace to get started. So with that said, what I'm going to do, just follow me, is that I'm going to come here and pick up my rectangle and then draw very quickly across the workspace or the printable area to where I think is a little bit appropriate for me depending on what I want to do. I'm just going to release it and leave it there. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on my shape tool and then try as much as possible to convert this a little bit to rounded corners. If I want to, it's going to be too much, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit around that size, and that's okay for me. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring up this ellipse tool and then try as much as possible to draw across this. Okay, and as I'm drawing, I'm going to hold on Control to constrain to proportions, like I said, and then if I hold Shift, I'm going to be drawing it out from the center of where I started from. And I'm going to explain that if I hold Shift, I'm going to be drawing it outside of the center. If I hold on Control, it's going to make it to drawn out proportionally. So that's just it. So what I'm going to do is to just hold on Control and draw it across maybe a particular area. Don't worry if it's not okay, we're still going to shift it out. So I'm just going to draw it that way and then position it somewhere here. Now positioning it somewhere there, the next thing I'm going to do is just to duplicate this, and the way I'm going to duplicate this in a very simple sense is just to click on this one and drag it inside. Once I drag it inside, I'm going to right click on my mouse. Okay, I'm going to right click on my mouse and then I'm going to have to duplicate. So that's a simple way to duplicate it instead of doing Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Now the next thing that I want to do is to go ahead and put a place for the lighting. Okay, so in case you don't have, so this is just about working with ellipse tool and making things work for you. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in my shutter. Okay, for this shutter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to still come back and use the rectangle tool and create a shutter for me that works. So with that said, if at all I want to create, so that's where the flashlight is going to be. So with this few stuff, we are actually producing our first camera icon. So to balance this out, I'm going to start adding colors to it. Okay, so it's going to really make sense. But before I add colors, I'm going to show you a little tip and trick so you can know. The way I'm going to add color is that I'm going to select everything here and I'm going to give it a gray scale. Alright, so you can see the interactions that I'm going to make. Now for these two circles that are here, I want to create a kind of interaction within these two circles so you could see how it's going to be. What I want to do is just create an interaction. So I'm going to click on this first circle and then I'm going to click on this first circle, and you can see in the option toolbar, you can see the options that I'm going to have. Now just follow me. I'll explain it in subsequent models what each of these interactions stands for. It's interactions where two or more shapes are being selected at the same time or close to each other. So it's going to give you an interaction whether you want to weld, whether you want to trim them, whether you want to subtract some sections and all those kind of things. So that's what it offers you. So for now, the only one I'm going to click is this back minus front. That means keep the back and minus the front. If you look at this design, this already was the first circle that we draw. It's at the back. Any other new layer that you're drawing will always be at the front. So I'm saying within these two interactions, keep the back and minus the front. That's what it means. So back minus front. As soon as I do that, you see that it's going to create a transition for me. Listen, if I now go ahead and click on this object right here, if I change the color and say maybe cyan, you see it creates this kind of a subtle halo effect for me, and that was because I said to keep the back and minus the front. So that's exactly what it is that I wanted to show you right there. I'm going to go ahead and click on Ctrl Z to bring it back to normal, and then I'm going to start adding colors the right way I feel I'm going to do it. So the basic way I'm going to do is just to stick with one color and try to create transitions out of it. So the first color I'm going to choose while making progress is just come here and pick maybe a dark shade of gray. So that works. And then for this one, I'm going to pick a lighter shade of gray, and that works as well. And this one, I'm going to stick to that lighter shade of gray. And in sticking to that lighter shade of gray, remember the interaction I told you, okay, is that I can use the color eyedropper tool. I can use this one. So the easiest thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here to the color eyedropper tool. Okay, I'm going to click on it I'm going to pick a color from here, and then I'm going to pour here, so it becomes that kind of uniform kind of color with regard to what I want to do. I'm going to also go ahead and pour here as well. With that, with just those two colors, I've been able to get what it is that I'm looking for, and that is our first camera icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight on everything and scale it down a bit. So, and scale it down and put it to the center. And the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to right click on this no fill here. Like I said, if you right click on it, it's going to give you the outline. If you left click, it's going to give you the fill. So if I right click this, you see it's going to give me the fill. So I'm going to do Ctrl Z. I just wanted to show you what to do. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to right click on this, and it's going to remove all the outline for me as well. So that's exactly what it is that I wanted to do, just to show you how a quick view into what you can create with CorelDRAW by just using simple compositions and by just using simple shapes. With that said, I might just come here and pick on the text icon and then start typing by hitting CAMERA. So that will give me my camera text. I'm going to drag it out and then position it just there. So if you've done that, I want to congratulate you, because you just learned how to work and play with shapes and then create simple interactions in CorelDRAW. So with that said, see you in the next video.